Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to the after party is what we're going to call it. I hope some of you are able to stay with us. I know we went long today. We do have a bunch of questions that came in, so we're going to get to those. I want to start off by congratulating Caitlin, who was surprised she didn't know. The wives, Dirk and Trish, did not tell Caitlin about winning the award. So this was news to her. So congratulations, Caitlin, and for all
Thank
you
you.
do in your community. Um, so I'd like to introduce you. See, there's another face that you haven't seen before, Brandon Bolesky. Brandon's our Director of Operations here at RMS. He's been watching the chat window throughout the hour and 15-minute presentation today. And so he's going to share some or ask some questions. So without further ado, go ahead, Brandon. You have some questions for us, I believe.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. I do have quite a few, so we'll just get into it. Chris, Janae, Caitlin, what are some of the tools that you use to help you with open enrollment?
The main one I've always used is Amplicare. I've been partners with them for quite a while. There's other companies that do it. That's just the one that I've used the most. It's easy, it's user friendly, and it takes the dollars to the pharmacy and the dollars to the patient in consideration. So that's the main one we've used.
In contrast, there is a part of Prescribe Wellness. If you're linked with Prescribe Wellness, I've used that prior to this year in tandem with Medicare.gov, as well as iMedicare, which is now Amplicare. And I find hands down, Amplicare is the way to go. It's my preferred method. And then I just back it up with Medicare.gov.
Yeah, we've only used Amplicare. I believe it's been for 5 years now. So we haven't utilized, we do have Prescribe Wellness for our MedSync program, but we haven't tried anything with Medicare on that one, but we may look into it maybe for the following year.
Okay, well, we'll get some links to those tools posted in the Climb group on LinkedIn as well. Again, for you guys, Chris, Janae, Caitlin, what kind of feedback have you received from customers that participate in open enrollment programs at your pharmacies?
So with ours this year, it seems like there was a little bit of issues with some of our patients that came in to get enrolled because we helped them enroll right then and there. And so I had a couple patients having to come back in, and luckily we were able to get their plan on the phone right then and there too, and get it taken care of. So we've had a lot of our elderly patients, they truly appreciate it that we're here for them to be able to help them in this process where they're not having to do it on their own.
Two quick stories. I like to go to the high school basketball games. My daughter's a cheerleader. Guy stopped me at the basketball game and said, "Chris, thank you." I was like, "Cool, what are you thanking me for?" He's like, "Your team's so good." And he said, the help they give them picking a Medicare plan, he said, that's needed. Folks like me don't know how to do that, and you provide it. The other thing that stood out to me lately is a guy stopped me on the road and he said, "I was in Dr. So-and-so's office, and they said, make sure I went by how you could discount drugs to make sure I got the right plan." People have that much confidence in you when you build momentum over the course of time. It's humbling to have people thank you for what we should be doing anyway.
Yeah. We have a lot of repeat customers come back year after year. And those are, my top 10. I see someone and I'm like, "Hey, I'm going to be reaching out to you, expect a phone call from me." So, and they appreciate that.
That's great. Great. Chris, we had a couple questions come in for you directly. What are some of the common pitfalls or mistakes that you see pharmacies making when they try to start their nutrient depletion programs?
Not being consistent. They try to choose what patient can and can't afford things, and that's not the way you should practice healthcare. You offer your best solution, and then you let the patient decide. You'll be amazed at how many people you don't think could afford a product will, or how many people you think it's a no-brainer and won't take it. But you just treat everybody the same, and you have a process. Now, I will tell you this, one of the things we do is we train our customers in a process that makes it easy. You have to identify, and then you have to have a process to offer the solution and be consistent.
Okay.
One more caveat, you got to know your product. If you don't know your product, the patient will pick up on it.
Do you think there are opportunities for a pharmacist outside of the pharmacy?
Meaning,
It was one of the questions that came in during your presentation.
I guess they're talking about events or online or things like that. And yeah, sure. Anywhere we can, in this digital age, anywhere you can meet the patient and educate them, I think that's a win. So I assume there are opportunities outside the pharmacy. I don't know if I'm understanding the exact things they're talking about in the question, but sure.
We'll definitely follow up on that after the presentation as well and get a little bit more information there. Brad, a few questions came in for RMS as well. Can you go into a little bit more detail about the RMS donation program and how that works?
Sure, and I'll tell a little bit about it, but then I can get in touch with the person who is asking the question and go in a lot more detail, even a demo. But basic idea, because I don't want to spend too much time talking about products. That's not really part of Climb. There's a donation editor now where you can create donation events. So you create who the donation is for, the date and time that the donation period starts and ends. And you can have multiple going at the same time. So you could be raising for 3 different entities or 5 or whatever at the same exact moment in time. Maybe over the holidays, you're doing something like that, but you could have just one at a time. And then at the register, at the end of the transaction, it will pop up, and you set some parameters on what you're asking. But at the register, it'll then pop up and say, would you like to donate your change? Would you like to round up to the next $1, the next $5, the next $10? Would you like to give a specific amount? So the clerk asks, and then the clerk selects, and that gets added to the transaction. And then there's a report. It hits your end of day report showing how much you raised for whatever donations that day. And you can run reports whenever you want. So that's kind of the basics.
Okay.
I'd be more than happy to do a demo for whoever asked that question.
Perfect.
Hey, Brandon.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I add just a little bit to my answer earlier on, if you're a new store getting started, one thing that I challenge people to do is in the beginning, track opportunities from your team. Don't track sales. We get tied up in tracking sales, and we've obviously got to make sales. But when you're starting out, if you're doing drug nutrient depletion, track how many conversations your team has a day. If your team starts having 8-10 conversations a day, your sales will take care of themselves. So I always on my team, I like to praise them for the opportunity, and I call it opportunity tracking, but track it every time they offer it to the customer, not every time the customer purchases.
Great. Well, I think that's all the time we have for questions today. So if you'd send in a question and we didn't get to it, we'll be following up with you as soon as possible over the next few days. We hope to see you again December 10th for the last Climb webinar of 2020. As Brad mentioned earlier, Giovanni Lavera will be joining us with a special session on resetting just in time for the new year. We'll also be helping you to get ready for 2021 with some end of the year tips on inventory management, reporting, and a lot more. Lastly, make sure you keep an eye on your email for the November Climb newsletter. That's where you'll find links to recordings from today's sessions, slides from our speakers, and other material to help you keep on climbing. Thanks so much for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.